Do you believe in setting goals? I know that this is the time of year. It's about to be a new year. And so we start to prepare in our hearts and our minds what we are wanting to accomplish for 2025. In today's video, I'm going to share with you my thoughts around goal setting. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me and I won't have to re-record this, but this video is in response to Side Hustle Mom, and she shared a video where she talked about her perspective on setting goals. And in the comment section, we just kind of had a little bit of a chat about how I had a little bit of a different perspective on goal setting, and it would be too much to try to type out in the comment section, so I was going to make a video about it. So this is that video. So if you don't know me, I'm Coach Kofia. I help women heal, thrive, and become mentally fit. And it is my life's purpose for people to see themselves as God sees them. I know what it's like to come out of a divorce and go through hardship and really just not feel like you know who you are. And so going on a journey of rediscovery, going on a journey of healing my relationships from my childhood, going on a journey to having good co-parenting relationships, having on a journey to learn what it takes to build a healthy relationship with myself, with God, and with others. It's really been my mission to help other people do that. So one thing I am hosting on November 19th is how to become mentally fit. In that workshop, I'll be sharing with you my key formula on what I believe God gave me going through my own process of divorce, and that I've helped other people who apply these same principles to their life become mentally fit. And I know this channel is related to my health, and I'm seeing the similarities. There's so many similarities that I am applying from learning how to heal and thrive after my divorce. I'm learning that it relates to, and it's very much so, the key to having success in my weight loss journey. So I am, as of last week, down over 40 pounds in 15 weeks. And I'm super excited. I'm super excited about where I am now. I'm enjoying this process. And the first thing I would like to say that I think is really important for people to really understand, that's a little bit different than what other people talk about. I don't believe life is a journey. I don't believe life is a journey, because when I think of going on a journey, there's so much emphasis on the destination. Think about it. When you think about, for me, when I think about going on a journey, my whole excitement is around getting there. And I wanted to be able to, I asked myself, and I'm like, what do I feel like life is? And it's not a journey. And I'm not knocking anybody. And I feel the need to give that disclaimer because it's hard to hear another person's perspective, and it's very directly against yours. And that can be something that is hard to wrap your mind around. And I'm making another video that I was owed to my community related to that, and you'll see that with it. But I believe truly in my heart, life is not a journey. I believe life is a treasure hunt, okay? I believe life is a treasure hunt because when I think about life being a treasure hunt, I get to celebrate the little milestones every step of the way. Like, there is excitement around every corner. And I'm not so much focused on, that ultimate destination, but it's really how I live my life. And I really think it's related to my perspective on goal setting with just celebrating little things along the way. So you hear this concept of SMART goals, right? And y'all can go look that up. It's like specific, measurable, I think it's attainable, realistic, time bound. I don't know if the A is correct, so double. But it has you thinking that you need to, like, just the fact that it has the word realistic, to me, limits me. It puts me in a box. And I'm a woman of faith. I believe that now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And that, to me, tells me that it's not going to be something that I'll be able to fully wrap my mind around. And so when I apply faith to every area of my life, because I've applied it to, even making the decision to, like, if you don't know my divorce story, but my ex-husband ended up moving to a different state, and I had to, I guess I didn't have to make the decision, but I felt I needed to make the decision to do what was best for me, for my daughters. That took faith. That took a belief, and I believe faith is the belief, right? It's not just the belief, but it's the belief backed by behavior. And so it took a level of faith for me to go in a direction that I had never seen before, that I even had doubts about going, that I wasn't even sure I could do it and be successful. And there were so many statistics against the decision of doing what I thought that I needed to do that was best for me, for my daughters. And it took a level of faith. And starting my business, determining that I'm going to be a coach. I'm going to help other women go through divorce. I'm going to help other women have different perspectives, and I'm going to charge for it. That took faith, because most people feel like if you charge for a service that people can do research on and really get to that destination without your help, that by you charging, you're somehow wrong. I felt that way. I felt that if I charge for something that comes so easy to me, for something that I would help people for free on, that I was a bad person, or what are people going to think of me, and all of these things. It took a level of faith. And so I apply this to setting goals, right? And I think it really is about getting clear on the direction that you're going. A couple of years ago, I was invited to do an annual clarity retreat. And when I first heard the word annual clarity retreat, I was like, okay, we're going to go somewhere. We're going to do something fun, right? It's going to be no stress. It's a retreat. And it took a lot of effort. It took a lot of effort, and it took a lot of brain power. It took a lot of sitting and reflecting. And from the result of that annual clarity retreat was me getting very clear on my life's vision, like putting into words my life's vision. And from that place, I believe, and I'll revisit. It's the end of 2024, and so I'll revisit, of course, like my life's vision. I'll revisit my goals and everything, just to make sure everything is in line, or if I want to make any adjustments or what have you. But once I got clear on the things and was able to articulate it, I was able to put into words what truly matters to me. And I believe that is the work that a lot of us, I did not want to do. I did not even know that it was a thing to do. Like, I didn't know that it was necessary for me to put into words the direction that I would like to go. And I know that in the video that I watched from Side Hustle Mom, she kind of hinted to, sometimes we set these goals, and because we don't achieve them and we miss them, right? And we feel bad about missing them. We feel like we're a failure. And I don't want to put too many words into her phrase or what she said, but it was like that disappointment from not achieving. And I know what that feels like. However, I also understand, like, there is more work to do before we even get to the place where we set goals. Like, setting goals is not step one. And I feel like that is that was the problem. Thinking that I'm just gonna sit down and I'm gonna think about some goals that I have, and I'm gonna go after these goals, and that's gonna be, I'm gonna achieve them. That's not the way it works. You have to really get clear on who you are, right? Who are you at the core? The biggest thing you really want to get clear on in order to achieve anything is, who is that person that achieves those type of goals? And so that is more of what I'll be talking about as it relates to becoming mentally fit, because it really is an identity, right? When I was going through my divorce and just feeling like I was just struggling in so many things, and like, having these thoughts of like being a failure, and, how I'm gonna be a single mom, and who's gonna love me, and all these different thoughts, right? And God really began to show me like where my identity was rooted. And we have to get to a place where our identity is not rooted in the accomplishments that we have. And we have to find ways, and this is what I teach, is you have to get an identity that is rooted in things that don't change, okay? And that is the step that I believe is missing to achieving those goals. Now, my perspective on goals. My perspective comes from a lot of research that I've read around impossible goals. And I read this book. It's called 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. He is a psychologist, phenomenal person, phenomenal teacher as it relates to personal development. So he has this concept around 10X is easier than 2X. It's not the Grant Cardone just do more. That defeats that's not the same thing, right? He is talking specifically about getting super clear on what you truly want, which again, I believe comes from knowing who you are. But once you have done that first step, then you get clear on where you want to go, and you set what he defines as an impossible goal. And if you believe that you can attain it, then it likely isn't big enough. Then he also talks about how you use time as somewhat of a tool to be able to drown out the things that don't matter, right? So you set an impossible goal, and what happens is 80% of what you're doing now is not relevant to you achieving that goal. And so what you do, you end up getting rid of and saying no to 80% of what you are currently doing, and only focusing on the things that are going to get you to that goal. And so it really, it blew my mind when I first heard it. I'm like, what? He even, the research even shows that if you think about something that you're trying to improve on, as it relates to your impossible goal, you're doing things that are not even relevant. And for me, that was looking at the things that I do in my business, looking at the things that I do in my relationships, looking at the things that I do with my money, and making sure that for me, those things are things that are going to get me to my impossible goal. So what I believe is that goals are absolutely necessary. The other side that I wanted to share that I think is super important as it relates to goals, is I don't set goals to achieve the goals. You're like, what? Yeah, my goals that I set, right? We talked about the SMART goals, and I mean, you can just throw that in the trash, or not. I'm not trying to be controversial, but you think about SMART goals, I'm throwing them in the trash, okay? I love a process goal, meaning I love to set goals around things that I can control, right? I cannot control the result. It makes me think of a scripture that says, one sows, one waters, but it is God who brings the increase. My takeaway from that scripture is that God is responsible for these results. And when I get out of line, if you will, and I try to take ownership of the results, that's where I jack things up. And this is something I'm always saying, even to my discipleship group. I'm like, we have to know what our responsibilities are and not expect God to do our things. And we have to know what he has said he has done, and not to get in his lane and try to do his stuff. And so for me, I believe results are God's thing. That's God's thing. And yes, I set goals because I have a desire to achieve the results. But in my mind, in my heart, in my mind, my will, and my emotions, I truly understand that it's more about who I become through going after the goal. It's not even achieving the goal, right? Think about this. Last week, I set a goal to lose 4 pounds. In 1 week, I was at week 14 to 15. I hadn't lost 4 pounds probably since the first month I was on this weight loss journey. I set a goal to achieve losing 4 pounds. That was my goal. That was what I had in mind. But I realized that I needed to become the type of person that can achieve that type of result more than I needed to achieve the result, right? So I believe that setting goals is more about, again, back to that identity piece. When you know who you are, and maybe you understand who you'd like to become, you see the gap, right? You see the places where that's not, and if you work with me, you get a clear path on embracing that identity of where you'd like to be in life, or where you'd like to go in life, and the goals that you like to have. And so when you do that, you begin to know that it's more about who I'm becoming. What are my thoughts? What are the beliefs? What are the patterns? What are the behaviors? What are the relationships that type of person who achieves that type of goal has? And so because I've embodied that and I help other people do that, I knocked it out the park. Not because the goal was to achieve the goal. The goal was to become the person who can achieve the goal. Anything that you are just like any desire that you have, I truly believe if like all good things come from God. And if God has planted a desire on the inside of you to speak, to teach, to coach, to start your own business, host, to do events, or to homeschool, whatever the desire is on the inside of you, right? I believe that it's really about you understanding your capacity to become the person to do the thing. And more than God wants to give you the thing, he really is concerned with who you are becoming. And if we can, and this is what I believe alignment is, when we get aligned with who he desired us to be, the game changes. The game absolutely changes. So set those impossible goals. Eliminate the things that are not serving you. Eliminate the things that are not serving your future self. And understand that life is not a journey, it is a treasure hunt. And so those treasure hunts is around every corner of you becoming the person that you see in your head, that you have desire to be. You celebrate those things, right? And you understand the separation between the things that you do and who you are. And you continue to walk in who you are. So hopefully this video was helpful. If you enjoy this type of content, definitely hit the like button, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you stayed to the end of this video, drop the is there a brain? Drop an emoji of a brain in the chat. Let me know below what thoughts